business worldwide. Martin, back to you.
Thanks very much, and a very happy 4th of July to you.
Same to you.
Mitt and Michelle. No, it's not a new sitcom, but it could very well develop into a two-person race for the Republican presidential nomination. While Romney has been raising money and running what looks like a general election campaign, Bachmann has shocked her rivals with a rapid rise in the polls and a heavy dose of media coverage, embarrassing gaffes aside. Doug Heye is a Republican strategist and former communications director for the RNC. I'm delighted to say he joins us now. And Doug, let me start by showing you how the comedian Jon Stewart sized up the GOP field, just in case you didn't see it, on The Daily Show. Take a look.
It's not that Republicans have too few candidates. It's that the candidates they do have are doppelgangers. They have the handsome middle-aged Mormon twins. They have the American History Challenged hotness. They have conservative firebrands from Georgia and, of course, a pair of oak trees. So
that's actually very funny. But is it accurate, do you think? Or can Mr. Romney and Ms. Bachmann rival the rest?
Oh, I think they definitely can, but I would also point out Governor Tim Pawlenty from Minnesota, who's a strong candidate, who just announced his fundraising numbers about an hour ago. You mentioned Michelle Bachmann and gaffes. I see Republicans often complain a lot about media bias. I'm certainly not making that accusation here with you, Martin. But
I'm
Michelle
delighted
Bachmann
you're not, because you'll be thrashed.
Michelle Bachmann, I think, is an example of that. If she says something that's a bit off key or not factually correct, a lot of the media sees that as an example of how she's not a serious candidate. But when the Vice President of the United States makes a gaffe, which he's done for decade after decade, literally since 1972, we kind of laugh, slap him on the back, and say, that's our Joe, like it's a Saturday Night Live skit or something. And it's really, really unfair. Certainly, Congresswoman Bachmann will continue to tighten her rhetoric and make sure that she doesn't make any miscues. But I think she's judged in a different light than even our own Vice President.
Absolutely. You're right to point out that Tim Pawlenty has announced something like $4 million in funds raised, which is significant, but it's a long way behind Mitt Romney, isn't it?
Well, we know that Mitt Romney was going to be the best fundraiser. He certainly proved that so far. He raised $10 million in one day, which is a pretty astounding total. But we also know that Republicans have a great fundraiser when we have our final candidate months and months from now, and that's Barack Obama. Our voters are motivated, and whoever the nominee is going to raise significant sums of money because we have as a real priority to beat President Obama.
Can I ask you for a moment to be entirely objective? Do you think that the aura of Sarah Palin, as long as she plays with the idea of a possible run, that will continue to get in the way of these candidates who've formally announced, who are desperate to get attention and increase their profile?
In a word, yes. Now, certainly Sarah Palin is somebody who's an attractive candidate to a lot of Republican voters and would draw a lot of support. But, I looked at the media coverage of her bus tour a couple weeks back, and really, if they're talking about dating instead of politics, the media coverage would be called stalking. Anything that Sarah Palin says or does gets such an intense reaction from the media that it does suck a lot of oxygen out. But maybe it's a chicken and egg thing. I think, the media trips upon themselves to do anything that cover anything that she says and does. And so, yeah, there can be a bit of overload, but that's because the media really never stops talking about her.
And your favorite, quickly?
I don't have a favorite right now. I'm still looking at the candidates. Look, we've got a long way to go. We don't have our first primaries and caucuses until February. That's months and months away. I'm anxious to see what the candidates are going to continue to do. We have so many more debates still to come.
Okay, Doug. Well, again, thank you very much for joining us, and a very happy 4th of July weekend to you.
Thank you. To you, too.
Now to the case of Amanda Knox, a young